So welcome guys to a Pokemon VGC replay cast, and this time gonna be an interesting matchup from the latest Victory Road online tournament if I remember correctly. And on the left hand side, on our player perspective, it is gonna be Matthew Ericsson Marquez, aka Dodge, aka Dodge this, aka the chubbiest of all cheeks in the world. And I'm Daks, guys. Joining me today yet again is Pao. And Mr. Pao, please introduce me to the other guy on the other side. I've heard many big things about this opponents here. A lot of hype actually running into this coming matchup.
Hello, yes. On the other side, we actually do have Mr. Yuri VGC himself. Very big, relatively big name, yeah, in the Pokemon VGC community. He
Yeah,
he is a 2018 Oceanic World Champion, if I do remember correctly.
yes sir, and indeed, and really just so close to home in the first place. An Italian player with some really good seeding as well in the previous WCS over 2017 and 2018. Also a regional champion, that's for sure, on the Alpine scene. And you can really see that he participates into many multiple online tournaments like this in Victory Road VGC as well as in the Rose Cup if I remember correctly. But this is going to be a VOD sent in by our player perspective, by Mr. Dodge himself. So it's Dodge versus Emily, and in the start already, we are going to have the Raichu and the Milotic for the side of Dodge versus Milotic and Durant. Already a withdrawal on to the opposing Milotic. It seems like Yuri going to be sending in his own Raichu instead. So very interesting to actually see the Raichu as here comes the Dynamax. What role does the Raichu fulfill in a composition like this, pal?
Oh, normally in this composition, the Raichu actually provides fake out support and as well as speed control in the form of Nuzzle, actually. It's a sure paralysis, but seeing the other Raichu on the other side, it seems that we're not going to see an Nuzzle, as we do see the Lightning Rod taking in that opposing Raichu's attack.
Yeah, it's such a good redirect there. Perfect read from Yuri at the very start, getting the buff onto his Raichu as well. And it seems like in the mirror matchup, we were able to talk about the compositions because so many things about these players. And the Milotic gonna survive with 1 HP. But oh, interesting enough, pal.
That is not even a focus sash bringing it down.
That is not a sash whatsoever. Competitive instead, gonna get procced. And a sliver of hope here for the Milotic. Coil though from Milotic can be able to get a buff on. But the real question is, can Ericsson actually get anything done with this upcoming attack? That's going to be the real thing here. So it seems like this Raichu, as you said, going to be on that supporting role, does have that helping hand just in case. In the meantime, the Milotic will have one of those policies, if I am correct, in terms of the icon itself. So that's the one where if it fails, he gets some speed, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that is the blunder policy.
Interesting. It's like, yeah,
unfortunately, it's not gonna make great use of this competitive now that it's 1 HP, especially since there's no way for this Raichu to actually slow down this this Durant before it moves. So I'm afraid he'll have to sack this Milotic or either switch it out.
Yeah, it's gonna be a swan song here for the Milotic. Hopefully he can get a Muddy Water on as the Incineroar comes online here for Dodge. So Intimidate gonna get the proc on to that Durant as well as the Raichu. Gonna be able to be useful in mitigating some of the physical damage there from the Dynamax Pokemon. Fake Out though will connect onto Incineroar. Seems like he was expecting a little bit of speed control there, but the Raichu is already gone. And speaking of gone, the Milotic turned into some Calamari instead. Will get taken down there, and the buff onto the Rand side. Seems looking really good here for Emily, for Yuri into this upcoming first few turns.
Yeah, that's this Durant's gonna start getting scary and scary now that it's getting some buffs up. But we'll see if Mr. Dodge here can fight it out with his own Durant as he sends it out. Obviously, it's probably gonna be the Dynamax option in this case.
Yeah, very interesting. He actually sends it out before waiting out the Dynamax itself, and it seems like he might potentially go for a swap on out to get a few more Intimidate procs into this one. And quickly, guys, if you notice a mouse cursor on the screen, that's not yours. Hey, pal, do you know what people send in? You know, like, VOD should be clean, right? But apparently, the mouse pointer part of the VOD is the Incinerator gonna get withdrawn. Do you think this is gonna be a good juggle here for the upcoming few turns.
Yeah, I don't disagree with his choice to switch out, especially since his Raichu still has this focus sash. I assume as most Raichus do, but we do see this Durant now Dynamax, so we actually do now see a mirror match actually on the field, double Dynamax Durant versus double Raichu.
That's very interesting. And honestly, those two rosters, they had so many similarities, especially in the core. And it seems like the best way would be to go into the mirror matchup. Let's talk about that one later on into game number 2 in the middle, as we had so many things for our introductions for those players. But the Raichu now gonna survive with a sliver of HP yet again. Focus Sash also here for Yuri, and really meta compositions here for both sides. Looking at the 6 Pokemon they brought in, they're very familiar into the season, even familiar honestly onto the previous one. But here comes the Max Quake already looking for a KO onto the Raichu, and we'll also get the proc onto the Focus Sash. Are we just watching the same person play against one another, pal?
The difference is we saw that we actually saw helping hand from the enemy from the other side, from Emily's Raichu, but we're not sure how much that mattered, especially against a Raichu not very known for its bulk.
Yeah, it's really funny actually. It seems like both sides do have similar movesets on there, so it might really go down in terms of that training. But we were able to actually check out that Dodge's Durant did go first into that turn. And since there's no real speed control options right here, right now, it really is just a matter of breathing. But the Raichu now gonna get withdrawn, and in comes the Melodic here actually for Yuri. So he also brings in a Melodic, very interesting now. Durant also gonna get withdrawn, both sides of his field turned into something else. It's a Hydreigon here. What do you think about what is gonna be the plan as the fake out comes?
Yeah, I'm assuming he wants to avoid the Max Quake. Especially, yeah, exactly, into this levitating Hydreigon. What's interesting to see actually is the fact that this Melodic is preventing this Durant from just straight up going for this max from the max bug move. And as you said earlier, this Ericsson dodges Durant going first doesn't necessarily mean that it's faster. It could be that it's an actual speed tie. So we do see this Durant surviving the heat wave from this Hydreigon.
Yeah, pretty bulky enough there for the Durant, or maybe the Hydreigon just doesn't have too much in the attacking stats. But the Flutterby now will look for the connection. The Melodic, does it also survive with a single HP? Seems like to be the case. No, never mind, it does go down. So a little bit of difference there. Yet again, Life Orb here for the Durant. Gonna get confirmed on up. Incineroar gonna be back into the field. And the Intimidate gonna be rocking yet again for the last time. But unfortunately here for Dodge, he only will get the Intimidate onto the Hydreigon. Is that correct? Or no, never mind. It does come on as soon as both Pokemon come online. Could have been a little bit of a snidey play there, honestly. But it is what it is. The Durant now gonna be out of Dynamax. And really turn priority, both of them coming at the same time, gets that Intimidate on. Will it really be a factor here against these two Pokemon?
I only see Intimidate probably affecting Raichu's fake out at this point actually. We'll probably do see, yeah, we do see a fake out from this Raichu onto this Incineroar just to make sure that it doesn't go for its own fake out.
Super risky.
Though, we'll be able to get the connection onto the Durant, and it seems like Ericsson Marquez here gonna be really on the ropes. Incineroar gonna get flinched on now, and that's all he got left. This man, this little cat just trying to make a big burst onto the scene. The Raichu a sliver of HP, but still we do have Yuri having one more thing in behind. Where do you think it went wrong here for Dodge? Why is he in such a corner by this point?
I think he was just it's in my opinion at least, I think it's the way it's the timing of the Dynamax at least. It just seems that Yuri's Durant here just way more effective in using its Dynamax compared to Dodge's Durant.
Yeah, that's so true, and having just a way to basically mess with all the attacks in the first place with that Hydreigon in the 4 he brought along as the Rat goes down is a pretty effective way to mess with his opponent. I also noticed early on onto the leads was a really big deal getting the swap on with the Raichu, getting the ability to get the proc on, and basically it was a wasted turn there for Dodge, and right now he's down 2-1 Pokemon. We already know that Raichu can go for the fake out yet again to be so pesky. He needs to make sure that he can get a KO or two to try and even things out. But it's looking pretty dire here. Here comes a fake out yet again. The Incineroar gonna get flinched on out. And the Draco Meteor now from the Hydreigon should be able to mop the floor. And this might be game number 1 going over to Yuri.
Okay.
So yeah, we do see Yuri taking game number 1, and very strong start. Very good reads actually from Yuri, negating Dodge's use of Durant. We'll see that Yuri, probably the fact that he's using his own Durant probably means that he's very well versed in Durant and the tendencies of people that use him.
Durantlytics, if you want to say. It's just like trying to see two ant colonies fight each other. And since this is a part of a tournament, if I remember correctly, they are on the BO3, and this was a Swiss bracket round number 3, if I'm correct. But there you go. We are going to see some of the stats here for Dodge. He does have that Focus Sash and that Life Orb. Those policies, though, onto Tokius and the Milotic. And interesting enough, Lapras for Assault Fest, probably going to be a G Max there. Needs Incineroar, of course, having the safety goggles, making sure it's not going to get spored on. It doesn't get too much damage from the sand. So a pretty standard composition here from Dodge. I've seen these elements from him before in the local scene. So he did just bring in a familiar roster into the international wave in the Victory Road VGC. And if I remember correctly, this was a tournament that had a registration fee, and then it was part of the prize pool. So really, whoever made it to the top cuts and made it all the way did go in with a pretty big pot. But the fun thing is right now, we don't know who it is. And yes, Mr. Pao, what is it?
What's interesting to note about both teams actually is aside from the similarities in Pokemon itself, they also have similarities in the fact that both have dual bulky water types, and both have the fantasy core of Steel, Fairy, and Dragon actually. So very similar teams, just looking at it from the surface.
Yeah, just make sure that pretty much all of their aspects are gonna get covered here. But yeah, for Dodge right now, he does have that tech onto Incineroar, and people were saying that Incineroar would be such a big deal, but it seems like it really depends on the roster. On the side, though, for Yuri, we're able to actually see a Gyarados there. Will he bring it out? But anyway, Dodge and Yuri going to be going on over yet again. If Dodge loses this, he is going to be out of the running in this round. In the meantime, looking to tie things up 1-1. Will it happen? It's going to be time to get into the action yet again. Durant and Milotic here and now for Yuri, for Emily, as we see on the screen. And on the opposite end, it's the Durant and the Raichu. So it seems like the Battle of the Ants going to be going on over yet again.
We'll see if Dodge calls a possible switch in into the Raichu like Mr. Yuri did earlier. We'll see if he adjusts properly compared to game number 1.
Yeah, and honestly, we're hyping up Yuri so much. Dodge also has a number of accolades under his belt. We might meet it from time to time as he's our good friend. But he is a pretty accomplished player in the local scene multiple times with the championship. Pretty consistent, making it to the top cut, or at the very least at the top 20 mark. He's always hovering around that, and he did go to a number of international competitions, including Singapore, if I remember correctly. So this guy really having a lot to prove and trying to spearhead such a resurgence here in the local VGC scene. Mods like this, very, very helpful in that aspect, be able to show off his play and at the same time trying to teach other people along the way. But Durant's now gonna get Dynamax yet again. Who do you got for this? Who do you think will have the Durant edge, Pao? We've seen a different number of stats from both sides, but it's gonna be time to clash yet again.
I think it'll matter just to what moves they both click, especially since you have to factor in the fact that this Raichu probably going in for a fake out. No, he does go for a helping hand, probably to help to try to one-hit KO Amon here.
But here comes the helping hand, and it is going to be that Durant trying to get the kill on the Milotic, and down it goes. So it seems like he knew the threat of the Siren, just gonna be so potent with everything into that elemental type on that watering. But the Durant now gonna get the KO onto the Milotic. In the meantime, Maxquake in response gonna be looking for the connection onto the opposing Durant, since he knows that there is a Focus Sash. Not gonna be wasting his Dynamax move onto the Raichu. half HP here for the Durant. Do you think that was worth it here for Dodge?
I think it was worth it for Dodge, especially now that Melodic is down. He can go for either his max bug moves or his Incineroar here. Now that the ability competitive is gone from the field, he can just go for these intimidates willy-nilly.
Yeah, very, very strong start here for Dodge. Seems like the core of his quad gonna be unmitigated now by the threat of that competitive. In the meantime, the Hydreigon gonna be out on the field, of course, with its Levitate. But at the same time, is it gonna be a good time here for the Hydreigon with the Raichu still around the corner? Gonna be the battle of the Durant still sticking on yet again. Damage versus damage, steel versus steel. And really, who is gonna be the queen of this ball? As it's time to get into another fight. And again, guys, that mouse pointer, just a quick little reminder.
Not ours.
Not ours at all. It's not yours, of course, and it is Mr. Matthews on this side. Something just call out to the guy who says, hey, I'm gonna send you some clean VODs. Apparently having something in the middle is not at all Intimidate. They're gonna get the proc on. Heat Wave right now from the Hydreigon. But oh, the Incineroar gonna be able to dodge it. It's only gonna connect onto the Raichu. We've seen this on a previous replay, pal. That's really those Heat Wave misses hurting the chances. Nuzzle now connecting onto the Hydreigon. Gets the paralysis on. And speed control truly in favor of Dodge right now. Flutter by though. In response, the Raichu gonna take the brunt of damage. It will go down. But it did go down swinging, getting the status on 2-1 already.
You know what's very interesting? I actually, the fact that he withdrew his Durant, he recognizes that the enemy Hydreigon much faster, like outspeeds him, and could probably KO with a Heat Wave. But unfortunately, seeing that miss on the Incineroar slot, probably hoping that he could have just stayed in.
Yeah, a little bit of luck there, but unfortunately he didn't press his luck to begin with. A smart play there from Dodge, playing it safe usually. 9 times out of 10, you know, that's the play to go on. So that 1 out of 10 chance is like, come on, you gotta take those if it happens. But anyway, it's time to get back into the fight. No Dynamax here for Dodge. He did withdraw his Durant, but he does keep it alive for this turn. X is now connecting onto the Hydreigon. That's actually a lot of damage, and it will go down as well. So lead here for Mr. Dodge right now in terms of those numbers, but this might be a quick turnabout as a max wake now from the Durants. Going for the focus fire onto the Incineroar, interesting enough.
And he does survive. I'm very, it's very interesting to see that he survived the max quake from this Durant. But then again, this Durant has been
obliterated. That's
obliterated
for sure.
Indeed, yeah.
It's
I was
gone.
gonna say it was intimidated, but now it's just been obliterated.
I mean, they rhyme, man. They rhyme right there. Flare Blitz, as well as the critical, and who dies too? The Incineroar. That's a little unfortunate, but job done right there, right then. Getting rid of the Durant that early. And it seems like it's another snowball effect. This time, though, in favor of Dodge. He was able to get a good first turn on. And it just kept piling on, getting the kill onto the Melodic, getting a swap on, getting the kill onto the Hydreigon. And it's now the Raichu versus the world. Sure, the Raichu might be able to get some damage done onto the Melodic. But this is looking really dicey here for Yuri. And again, turn 1, such a big factor in this match.
Yeah, whoever gets the better lead or the better read on the enemy team probably gonna win this match due to how offensive these two teams are.
The Volt
This
Tackle,
Volt Tackle actually dealing so much damage to this Melodic, probably telling Yuri how this Melodic is EV'd up.
Yeah, but you can already see the difference there. Volt Tackle for the Yuri Raichu, but then for Dodge it is the Volt Switch, if I remember correctly, so you can get those Incineroar procs a little easier. But yeah, victory goes over to Dodge. The Melodic able to stay alive. Really good information though being read by both of these players. Dodge adjusting against the Hydreigon and its speed. And now we'll see if Yuri can actually figure out what to do against the bulk of the Incineroar, against the bulk of the Melodic, and potentially the speed as well of Mr. Dodge's Durant. So many factors on the same Pokemon, yeah, pal.
Yeah, what's very interesting to see is you know that Togekiss, one of the most popular Pokemon here in this format, but we actually haven't seen them bring out this Togekiss against each other at all, actually.
Seems like it's
As
not
I
gonna be
say
the
that, he
case,
actually
but never
clicks this
mind.
Togekiss.
There's a click right there. It's gonna be very interesting actually if Dodge is gonna go for it. There are a few factors they don't want to really run that Togekiss, especially with the threats of the Raichu, with the threats of all those water types potentially having an ice move, and just so many different ways to deal with the Togekiss here and now. Especially in a mirror matchup, it really depends on what they bring against each other. It really is such a mind game here. What do you really think is the best time to bring out the Togekiss? Since Dodge did it anyway, what are the strengths of having this Togekiss, and what were the reasons why he wasn't bringing it in the first place?
Obviously, it's very strong as redirection, but you have to be careful about the fake out. But now that we see that this Togekiss that Dodge brings has a weakness policy, we'll see how the fact that it's so bulky when Dynamax and the fact that it has so much damage when its weakness policy is proc makes you want to kind of fear it and not want to hit this
You know, I'm,
floating cloud at all.
I'm fearing right now Yuri's raid. He brings out the Melodic at the very start, expecting the Incineroar from Dodge, and there you go, competitive immediately proc at the very start. That Melodic is gonna be very, very scary if it gets the hits on, and Dodge might be worried already from turn 1. Togekiss Incineroar looking to stay alive at that Melodic. Might be able to spell doom against these two Pokemon, especially with a potential Muddy Water coming their way. But there is no time for regrets. There is no time to actually try and turn back time, as this is truly the defining factor here, pal. This is the defining turn of this series yet again, coming for a third time, and it's actually a Dynamax here for Yuri.
The Durant, yeah. Yes, it's very scary actually because you have to be worried. Will he be Dynamaxing the Durant, or will he be Dynamaxing the competitive box Melodic just for bulk?
But yeah, it's gonna be the Durant looking to stay alive a little longer. Sure, it is debuff on the attacking end. It can still pack quite a punch. In the meantime, Dodge will go for his own Dynamax. It has to be the Togekiss. Having that weakness policy under his belt gonna be a good way to get some more damage going, and it gets Cloud9 into this matchup. That Togekiss looking pretty in charge of this fight. It's a jumbo jet plane, man. It's a Boeing 747 in this game already. But the fake out comes onto the Melodic, making sure it's not gonna get the damage on Steel Spike in response. Trying to go for the float on in onto the Togekiss, and it stays alive with the Dynamax.
And now that's gonna proc its weakness policy. Now you have to wonder, is he going for this airstream for speed control, or is he actually going for max flare just to one hit this Durant here?
It's gonna be scary, and we'll see what is gonna be coming our way. It's the airstream actually. Getting a little more speed, very helpful, but the weakness policy gets the buff enough. And the Durant will go down. Their speed boost is on. And the first frag, the first kill in this match, going to Dodge. We've seen this before in this series. He who gets the better first turn takes the victory. And looking like Mr. Matthew here, gonna be going with that prophecy, going with that standard, and already in the lead at this game number 3.
Yeah, Durant not known for its highest special defense. Now we have to see what Yuri has here to counter this weakness policy Togekiss now that it's at +1 speed because of that max airstream.
And you know, if you really think about steel types, their weaknesses are basically elements. Makes sense. The steel, if you punch it, it's gonna hurt you, but if you burn it, it can chip it down eventually. It's a lot more effective. You know, makes sense in real life. And you know what also makes sense? I thought the mouse disappeared, but apparently Dodge just moved it to himself on the screen. There you go.
It seems that he might want to be he might want to point us towards something. He might be telling us a message.
Yeah, to get rid of your mouse pointer, guys. So time check as well as mouse pointer check. That's not yours, that's his. But let's talk about the turn yet again. Fake out now coming. 1 HP damage there, but it will mitigate whatever the Incineroar wants to do.
But this Melodic actually surviving very, very bulky on that special side, surviving a +2 Togekiss.
Oh, Hypnosis!
Yes, Hypnosis. Oh, and it does miss.
Blunder policy. Oh, the real question here though is the +1 on the Melodic, or is that a +2 actually with the Blunder? But the real question is on on Dodge's side, he has that +2 speed. Will he be able to outspeed that Blunder Policy Melodic?
Well, hopefully he'll. We'll see what happens, but it's very scary. The fact that this melodic can just.
Oh, he withdraws
But he
it.
does. It does withdraw it.
That's
This Blunder Pulse is actually raising speed by 2, but I'm guessing that he wasn't very
confident.
he wasn't very confident in the fact that his melodic would still outspeed this +1 Togekiss.
It's actually
Because
+2, but +3 now.
+3 now, yeah. This
Yeah.
Hydreigon just this we do get a crit, and
Yeah.
remember, this is not Copeland's Togekiss. It is weakness policy.
Really luck in favor of Dodge there, and just having the read against his opponent, getting that speed control on. Lightning Rod though, perfect swap there from Dodge this, and what a show from a pretty shaky game number 1. Able to really beat out the former champ in a number of these mind games here in this Swiss bracket. And the Melodic gonna come on back, but this is looking really dire here for Yuri. Dodge still having all of his elements under his belts. The Togekiss sure out of Dynamax, but I feel like job done already. I mean, this might be the beginning of the end here, pal.
Nobody's at this point. Nobody's as fast as it. And he does, yeah. At this point, nobody was as fast as that that Togekiss, and Yuri just forfeiting the match and giving Dodge the game 3 win.
Yeah, that is gonna be a victory there for Mr. Dodge. Very impressively done in this instance. Really, really interesting keys to this game at the very start. Just having so much of that mirror matchup, but truly with such similar cores on the rosters, it really was able to get the momentum first, and Dodge swapping over to the Togekiss at the right time. It seems like he was really holding on to it. He was feeling confident that he could take game number 2, since he only lost game number 1 because of some certain factors, because of the lead, because of the lightning rod swap turning into the snowball effect. On game number 3, he was like, okay, I can now bring out the Togekiss. This will be such a big game changer, because in game number 2, I was just able to figure out what I did wrong in game number 1 and accordingly work on it and execute.
Yeah, it's very fitting for both teams, especially since they're so offensive. That these games would go by so fast. Actually,
it's pretty cool, and really, it's just the moments of the game where all those turn ones. It was basically whoever got the better turn 1 won the game, because they understood their composition, and by proxy the opposing composition so well with what they've been playing, what they've been practicing in, and it really was such a high stake match there. But well played there to Dodge, taking the victory 2-1 versus Yuri, and really gonna be such a good confidence boost there for Mr. Dodge. Unfortunately though, he wasn't able to make it to the top cuts to just burst your bubble, but hey, matches like this really show progress as well as prestige in the local VGC scene. And Pal, any final thoughts on that match before we go?
yeah, I'd just like to say, I guess that yeah, despite not making it to like the higher echelons of this tournament, he does have these highlights to show for. And remember, yeah, Pokemon is a very mind intensive game. Yeah.
And I feel like that last crit also at the tail end, a little just making Yuri say, okay, I'm not gonna win this, it's not gonna happen. And just having a red HP Melodic and a Raichu versus the world, not gonna happen, not gonna happen, especially with all the buffs from the Melodic gone erased with the swap. But that is gonna be our game. Thank you to Mr. Dodge for sending that one in from his Victory Road VGC tournament run. And hopefully we get some more from you guys soon. Gonna be pretty fun to work on with the PGP and the Pokemon PH and whoever in the Philippine community. I've been Dax, you've been Pal, and we'll see you guys next time.